Word to the wise. If you thinking about letting a friend move in with you, don't. Story time.
Living together is the biggest test to any friendship. Now, from my personal experience, I wouldn't take that gamble anymore. If me and you were friends, that whole us becoming roommates, nah. I value our friendship too much. I don't want to know how irresponsible you could be.
Now, let's just hop straight into the story, okay? Now, just for a little bit of context, I got to give y'all just a little bit of history about me before getting into the actual reading so it makes sense. So, I bought my house when I was 21. I'm now 26. When I bought my house, it was 2020, end of September. At the time, I was dealing with this dude, and of course, I didn't know, but I was in for a hell of a ride. That being said, I know the ins and outs of a very toxic domestic violence type of situation, relationship, right? Very experienced with it. I dated him on and off for about 5 years. Now, at the time, it was just the beginning, so I had no idea what I was in for real. All of that being said, let's get into the story. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Tiffany. Now, I met Tiffany around 2020. Tiffany is an aesthetician. Now, one thing about it, I'm going to support a black business down. And then you a woman too? Yeah, so don't even worry about it. I'm there. On top of that, Tiffany came in clutch. Nobody else was open. At the time, I was going to this chain wax place called, I think it's like Andrea or Wax by Andrea, something like that. So to go from a chain place to an individual person, and then she charging really good prices. Yeah, and she was having my shit. Like, when I first went to her from them, I had like little ingrown hairs, discoloration. And to be completely honest, she got me the together. Smooth, baby bottom, no more discoloration. All of that. I was with Tiffany, period. Kept the punani cute.
My bad, I had to pause it. My wife about to open back up her business. A few of y'all that lived in the Georgia area was wondering when she's going to open back her esthetician business. She is. And she's also waxing now. I just had to plug that in there, okay?
Her started off as Esty Besties or whatever. We ended up developing a friendship, you know? Now, Tiffany didn't know me like that, and I didn't know Tiffany like that. But naturally, you know, somebody all in your no square, you're gonna start talking about stuff. I mean, you already in my business. I might as well give you a little bit of insight, you know? So, you know, years go by, and now me and Tiffany have been friends for 5 years. Now, Tiffany was always really confused. She loved me. She loved my vibe. I was always very blunt. You know, she was also one of those type of people that was like a rooter. Like, she was always going to be rooting for you, regardless of what you were doing. Also, when I met Tiffany, I was in my dance bag heavy. I'm not going to call it no midnight ballerina, bitch. I was a stripper. Yes, because I'm tired of y'all sugarcoating shit. So one thing Tiffany would notice is that I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't hang around a lot of people. And the friends that I did have, I was very protective of them because at the time I thought they were my friends. But as the story goes, you know, them hoes really wasn't my friends. And Tiffany would start to see that. And obviously she only had my side of the story to go off of, but I feel like she put two and two together. She liked my vibe. She started to get to know me. So I feel like she started to see certain things, put two and two together, and was like, yeah, you're not tripping, you know? Needless to say, Tiffany was there for a good chunk of friends, you know, exiting out my motherfucking life. And it was actually an incident with her and a friend of mine. We went to this spa that she invited us to, and everything was really cool, good vibes. My friend at the time, well, the bitch ain't my friend, but she was at the time. She was an Aries. Tiffany is a Cancer. I'm a Virgo. So they kind of butted heads a little bit. And at the time, Tiffany had said something to the friend that I was not with. Because one thing about it, you have certain friends for certain things. And that bitch, I already was feeling like I couldn't tell her my business. So clearly, even though me and the other girl had been friends longer, I trusted Tiffany a lot more. Now, being that that was our first incident, I'm not gonna lie, I just slick cut her ass off. I didn't even tell her that I was irritated with her. Yeah, I was pissed because you got me f***ed up. Just because I tell you something don't mean that you just open your mouth and say something to somebody else. Now, granted, this was her first incident with me. She didn't even know I was mad. She just so happens to call me, y'all, asking about her engagement ring. And I'm like, you called me about a ring? And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? Now, she is older than me, right? By like maybe 7 or 8 years. So when I told her the issue and what had happened and how I felt, it was literally like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She took accountability. You know, I hate that I made you feel that way. I'm calling you about a ring. I don't even know there's anything going on. And I love that response, right? Because I'm used to just trying to try me like I'm tripping. And, you know, to have somebody to take accountability, look in the mirror, apologize, even if she may not have felt like she was wrong in the situation.
You know how I just plugged my wife's esthetician business in? This sounds like a similar story that happened to my wife. Now, I'm going to tell y'all at the end, but this is a prime example why I tell her, yo, keep your business relationship. Because what I realized, it's so easy for her being an esthetician to make friends. You know, she's there doing these people facials. She's getting them looking right. And to them, it's therapeutic, and they release. And they tell her a lot. They tell her a lot. They grow this relationship with her. And sometimes some of those people, not all, some of those people are not good people. And, you know, later on, you're going to find out certain things that happen to her where it's like, you got to be careful which one of your clients you start becoming friends with.
Breath of fresh air to me. So not only did that solidify our friendship and make it a stronger bond, but bitch, at that point, I'm like, yeah, okay, me and Tiffany, like, we may actually have something real going on here. After that, me and Tiffany never really had any, you know, words or nothing like that ever happened again, right? So boom, I'm fast forwarding, years have gone by. Now I'm no longer fucking with that other friend. Tiffany is now fully aware of who I am as a person. She knows my heart. She knows that I read cards, I'm psychic, and all of these things, right? We've gotten to know each other. Now, going back a little bit. When I met Tiffany, she was living with her boyfriend. At the time, he was not her fiance yet. But I got to know him. I got to know her. And, you know, they started inviting me places. We go to KOD together. I actually just threw away the picture that we had. I had a picture in my house of me and Tiffany at KOD. You know, it was fun vibes. Like, I never had to worry about Tiffany. So, you know, we moved further along. Her then boyfriend asked her to marry him. And bitch, we're there for that because there is not enough of that going on. So of course I was over the moon for her, period. Everything starts to kind of take a turn though, right? Now, a lot of things are happening in Tiffany's relationship that I'm not very much privy to, but Tiffany at this point knows that I'm with this guy. Things have been physical. It's a toxic situation. He was fucking around with his baby mama. It was a lot going on. So eventually, you know, Tiffany starts to open up about her and her boyfriend or her fiance at the time. We're just going to call him Rodney. Now, I loved Rodney and Tiffany's relationship because they had been together like 10 plus years. But again, I wasn't privy to everything. So once shit starts hitting the fan, they're getting ready to get married. They both go on their own individual bachelor and bachelorette parties. They had been arguing for a while because Rodney told Tiffany he was going to Colombia. And if you know anything about anything, you know what be going down in Colombia.
Bro.
Okay? They be giving it out.
Yeah.
Don't know what they doing. They just giving it out. And he was ready to purchase. Now, y'all know how man is. You know, she's basically accusing him like, I know what you going down there for. Oh, and he's telling her, you tripping, this, that, and the third. It even got to the point where he got in her face, headbutts her, calls her a bitch. You know what I mean? And he's really going big for somebody.
Bruh, where y'all be finding these from? A nigga headbutting you? Where you found him? Then you got your boyfriend putting hands on you? I don't know, bro. That's just not up my alley. I'm sorry. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. If I'm out here on the street and some random heifer put her hands on me, it might be a reflex. But my wife, my girlfriend, we in here, we live together, we sleeping together. You share your intimate parts with me. Why would I be putting hands on you? Why would I be headbutting you?
I'm not gonna go out there and do anything nuts, you know? Because if you know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to go do nothing out there, why are you getting so disrespectful? So now I'm privy to the situation. This is like 3 years into our friendship at this point, right? I'm privy to the situation. I don't like Rodney at this point. But I have to play my cards right because until my girl Tiffany leave this, it's not much I can really do. I can't say that I don't like him, create a wedge between me and Tiffany because he's not going to want her to hang out with me. Now, to be completely honest, he's a Leo. So he always was worried about people's opinion and how he showed up to people. He didn't give a fuck about who he truly was. He just didn't want nobody else to know. So, boom, he goes to Colombia, comes back. This stupid motherfucker, he has a camera. Not his phone, y'all. A camera. Tiffany, long story short, finds a video of him and some Colombian chick. And y'all already know what's going on. This fool done recorded it. Why? So, boom, their relationship is starting to get very, very physical. Mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally, it's just starting to get crazy. Now, I told Tiffany because she's seen me go through my stuff, right? I got pregnant. I had a miscarriage. There was a lot going on in that relationship with me. So she felt comfortable coming to me, telling me what was going on with her. So I told Tiffany, like, if anything ever happened, because it was starting to get scary. It was starting to get to a point where, I'm trying to pull up on her because I feel like he's getting ready to do something to her. I'm like, you can just come live with me. I don't do that. I don't care if you my cousin, okay? I just don't like people living with me, especially if they're in situations like that, because I know how it is when you're not ready to leave. And you're not going to put my motherfucking life in danger because you want to play, okay? But if y'all want to hear the rest of the story, tap in and come back for part 2.
I don't know how many parts there are to the story, but we got to go for part 2. I feel as though she hung me out there to dry, man. You know what I'm saying? She reeled me in, but I want to know what happened when Shorty moved in.
Stop everything, Craig's intro. She about ready to beat my ass, so I'm back with that part 2. All right, y'all, we're going to have to go back a little bit because I skipped certain parts because I thought I was going to be able to keep everything in part 1, but it wouldn't be me if I didn't do a part 2, so fuck it. We're going to go back a little bit, right? This is like the first year, maybe a year and a half into us being friends / me being her client, Esty Bestie, you know the drill. She asked me to be a brand ambassador for her business, in which I replied yes. I had the following, I had the backing, I had the personality. On top of that, I was doing music videos, club hostings. I was just really in my bag, so why not? And of course, it was not abnormal for people to ask me to be the brand ambassador because of everything that I already talked about. This was just a little bit different. She didn't give me any contract. We was just basically going off face card and the fact that we were building this new relationship. And on top of that, I was always posting her prior to, because that's just what I do. If you give me a good experience, I'm going to give you a review and I'm going to be honest about it. You know what I mean? So it was nothing. Now, her proposition was, again, a little different from the real brand ambassador gigs that I was getting, because usually, especially around that time, I was doing a lot of wig things, so people would send me free products to promote. Hers was a little different, right?
My bad, I had to pause it right here. Listen, bro, if you do social media, be careful. What'll happen is these brands will hit you up, and instead of coming with money, they coming with product. Be careful with that. Because yeah, you could send some product, you know what I'm saying? I could use your product, but at the end of the day, I'm getting you new customers. I'm making you money. My whole thing is charge your worth. Don't feel bad about your prices. Because these brands out here, even like some of these mom and pop shops, they'll try to take advantage of you. You know how much hard work you put in to get your following to where it's at. Don't let nobody take advantage of you, bro.
Me to promote her business, and she would give me mostly like a discounted prorated type of service, or the amount that I would be paying. So she would charge me $50 and I would basically be doing her brand ambassador stuff. Now, again, there was no contract in place, but me being a real bitch, I'm going to do what the I'm supposed to do regardless. You don't have to tell me. Now, she also started doing creative stuff. Now, this is kind of fast forwarding, right? She started doing creative stuff with her business. She's making rap songs. She made a song out of one of Glorilla's songs, basically promoting her business. I couldn't be there for the music video, but I was there for her to record. And my voice is even in the song on the call, like, hey, Tiffany, I need a wax right now. Book me. You know what I mean? Like, really doing my Mind you, I never asked her to be our brand ambassador. I never asked her for free shit. I never asked her for any discounts. I never asked her for shit. Okay? Notable mention, when I went to her, her prices were already in that $50, $60 range. So it's not even to say that she was giving me a true discount. It's more so like when she did up her prices, my price point stayed the same. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to fast forward. When Tiffany originally moved in my house, I'm very thorough. Bitch, I had a whole contract, a whole contract, bitch, about my house and about living in my house.
As you should.
Which obviously consisted of, rent, when rent was due, how late it could be, if it was going to be late, the time frame. I even gave her until September. So technically, she would have been in my house from late February, March, into September, if she would have stayed that long. Now, I didn't have a lot of rules, but one thing about it, me being a psychic, me being extremely empathic, and just me being private, people can't come to my motherfucking house. I don't even really have company at my motherfucking house. I have to know you. We have to have that bond. You know what I mean? And that's not too much of an ask, right? But the more we go along with stuff, I'm starting to peep certain things that, okay, I need to also tell her I don't like this. Now, don't get me wrong. Tiffany, I would get off work. She done cooked, cleaned up. You know, she was actually a really good guest. Outside of just little things that I'm about to get into, right? So it was like, okay, this is really fun. You know, I get off work, we can talk, we can chop it up. It seemed like, you know, and I don't have no sisters. I was starting to enjoy it. Now, it was certain things that I would start to notice. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I don't want to smell weed. It don't make me feel good. It actually makes me feel nauseous. And honestly, as a girl, why the fuck are you smoking at 8 o'clock in the mother? That's a boy thing. That's what... And any man in my house or any man around me, period, that's not even gonna fly, period.
Bruh, when I went to college, I had 3 other roommates. And at the time, I didn't smoke weed. But I understand if you want to smoke, you can smoke. Cool. I'll wake up for 6 in the morning to get ready for class. The house stink of weed. What used to get me even more upset is when they used to break their weed down. You know, they'll break the Dutch down. And they'll leave the guts all over the table. Or they'll leave the guts all over, like, over the counter by the sink. And it's like, bro, the trash can is right here. After a while, I started smoking. And I have never just left the guts on the table. So even now, I never understood why they used to do that. Then I had this one roommate, bro. He used to bring people into the crib to smoke. And it's like, bro, they got the crib looking crazy. This where you live at. Why you got them having the crib looking crazy? I ain't gonna hold you. If you ask my roommates, I was probably a Karen. If they talk about me to this day, they probably talk about me like I'm a Karen.
It was like one of those things where I wouldn't know that it would bother me until it happened. So obviously I'm not going to put that in the rental agreement. But I did shoot her a little text like, hey, you know, I don't like the smell of weed in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to work type thing. I don't want to smell like weed. And it was nothing. Like, she apologized, basically said that, you know, she picked up that habit from her ex, this, that, and the third, the fiance. And so...
Why she don't just smoke outside? Or just smoke on the balcony? Matter of fact, you have a crib. She could just smoke in the backyard.
Like, okay, you know, I get it. You're unlearning the toxic. And then one day, I roll me up like a little spliff. And I do this thing where I'll hit it. And then, you know, in the morning, leave it there for when I get off work. And I know for a fact, it was probably about maybe like this big, okay? But to my, you know, 420 people, you get off work, you looking forward to it. Period. I strategically put it in a space in my room right by my TV. So it's not like I was hiding it, because at this point I wasn't closing my doors. I wasn't locking my doors, because at the end of the day, it's just us two in this bitch. So if anything go missing, I know I ain't do it. You know what I mean? I get off work, I come home, and it's not there. Ooh. And I'm looking for this shit, because before I ask somebody or even accuse somebody of doing something, I'm very thorough. I'm a thorough ass. I'm going to look for that shit. I'm going to make sure I'm not tripping. I'm going to even evaluate, did I smoke the whole thing? Mm-hmm. But I know I'm not tripping. So I shoot her a text like, hey, did you so happen to smoke my clip? She hits me back like, no, what's going on? And I'm like, I can't find it. So boom, she ends up calling me like maybe 5 minutes later. Like, hey, what's the problem? What's going on? I'm like, I left a clip here. It's not here. I'm just trying to see if you smoked it. If you did, just let me know, because if so, please don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do it, replace it. You know what I'm saying? And so she assured me that she didn't do it. I have no proof. I know what the I know, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Just gonna roll up another blunt. Now, this is kind of what confirmed my suspicions that she actually did smoke it. Later on that night, when she finally got back home, she was like, oh, I'm gonna call the weed man, this, that, and the third. I'm gonna get you like a little 3, 5, or 7. And I was like, okay, you know, but I'm thinking like she's gonna get some weed for herself and then roll up and we just gonna hit it. No, when she got the weed, she gave it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, she was like, no, that's yours. I was like, well, how much is it? She's like, you don't got to worry about that. So I was like, okay. But you know what you know. So I'm thinking like, okay.
You guilty.
But bygones be bygones. It's not that big of a deal. It is what it is. Also, keep in mind, when she moved into my house, I had literally just made my TikTok. Y'all, my TikTok is not even a year old yet. It'll be a year old in March. And when I made my TikTok, I was talking all about, you know, women and how we should be utilizing these men in the best way that we can, especially if you look good, you got everything going for yourself. Don't let these men take care of you. You don't take care of a man. And I'm basically giving women advice about how to get theirs and not waste their time. Now, I'm not sure if some of the things that I was saying was hitting her or making her feel some type of way, but it definitely, that was not the intention, because again, I was in a relationship where I allowed a man to take me off focus and he wasn't doing shit from doo-doo to help me. You know what I mean? So it's one of those empowering things, stripper mindset, type thing like that. And also being independent and taking care of myself.
Stripper
I'm
mindset.
giving this advice to anybody who's going to catch it. Now, I also started noticing like her being sneaky or lying. I don't know who the y'all think y'all is, but you can't really have a lot of privacy when you live with somebody, no matter how much you try to keep things secret, And also, I truly don't give a fuck. But when it come down to my house, my space, my sanctuary, I'm always gonna give a fuck. So one day she told me that this dude was gonna get her a rental or give her one of his cars. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I just so happened to be kind of coming in and out the house when she pulls up. Why does park all the way down the street, not too far, but not in the spot right in front of my house where she could have parked? And I'm just so happen to come outside and I see the car and I'm like, I thought you said you was getting a rental. He was like, Rodney, he's out of town. And Rodney did buy her the car. And Rodney is the type of, if I feed you, I'm going to starve you. So everything he ever bought her, phone, car, anything, that was his until she was his again. So I'm like, I thought you was going to get another car. Oh, he's out of town. My mom talked to him and I was able to get the car. That's a red flag, because let me tell you something about my mother safety. It's not even about you or me wanting to know your mother business. I have to do it part 3. Oh my God. Comment for part 3.
Come on, yo, you long-winded as hell, man.
I hope y'all know when y'all do like this, it's not going to make me move no faster. Because today is the 12th. So now what? And truth be told, if I didn't have time to do it today, you wouldn't have got it today. So count your lucky star. And with that being said, we back with that part 3. Now, like I said, what Tiffany said was a red flag to me, because in my mind, the situation is still too fresh. And I don't want you to slip up and tell him where you've been living.
Facts.
And that was really my main concern.
Facts.
Other than that, I can't do nothing in your life for you other than be your friend. So I'm not going to judge you off of that. But it's more like, don't put my home and my life in jeopardy, because some people are crazy. And I'm not going to be the one. So pretty much after that, like, my antennas were definitely raised, because hell no. Like, y'all, I have so many stories and so many things that I still have not told y'all yet, which are on the way. But like, I don't play about people at my house. I don't play about people knowing where I stay. Like, that is crucial to me, period. So a little bit of time goes by and eventually Tiffany does move out. And this didn't come as a surprise, because she did kind of put it out there in the beginning that she may not stay the entire 6 months, just in enough time for her to kind of like figure out a plan. So I was kind of like, okay, but it just also was like one of those situations like, well, let me check in to make sure that we good too, because I don't want to have no residue or nothing left unsaid. So I did also put it out there too when she told me she was leaving, like, you don't have to technically leave until September. Are you sure? If you want to come back and, continue at the least you can. So it was still open and available if she did want to come back. So I did ask her to make sure, like, you don't feel any type of way about anything that I said or how I say certain stuff, like, especially with the whole weed thing. And, she was like, no, like, she's like, you're just blunt. Like, that's who you are. That's how you talk. Like, it's not like I'm not taking nothing personal. So it was like, okay, it was a relief. I felt like I did my due diligence. I did my part. Like, I was very, very active when it came down to communicating and being clear and making sure that we're on the same page. So at this point, her birthday's getting ready to come up. I'm still getting my services and stuff done by her. She had her living situation kind of situated. And so it was like, okay, everything kind of was like, it didn't miss a beat, back to normal. She wasn't a terrible house guest. Like, I'm going to reiterate the fact that it wasn't the fact of her living in my house, but it was the fact of her living in my house, if that makes sense. So I feel like it boomerang and ricocheted in the most terrible way. So once you say you good, and I asked you a few times, I'm good. If you got a problem with me, it's your responsibility to address me about it. I'm not going to be running behind you trying to figure out, hey, are you okay? No, I did my due diligence. She said you was good, and that's it. So boom, y'all. A few weeks go by. Her birthday is coming up. She invites me to her birthday celebration. She had like a rooftop situation and a dinner. Now, I was late to the dinner because of a friend of mine who was coming with me, and she was late. So I did go ahead and let her know, hey, I'm going to be a little late. She was cool with it. Now, the energy definitely feels off, and I read cards. I'm psychic. So not only did I already do a reading about this shit, I've already had dreams about some of the things that was going on. So I get to the birthday party, like everybody's talking, but they were actually all going around the table to say, you know, how they love her, appreciate her, the friendships and stuff like that. So when I get there, some of the friends that know me was like really excited to see me, which, you know, that's how they are. When I see them, I be excited to see them too. So they're like, oh, Bree, you know, be quiet, but they're like, Bree, you know, so I'm going around hugging everybody. But it's two of her friends in particular that act like they got a mother problem. And like I said, bitch, I'm grown. If y'all hoes got a problem, that's y'all problem. Because I'm not going to dim my light or shut shit down because my energy is just enough. Clearly.
You're probably just jealous.
So boom, it finally gets to me. I tell her how much I love her, I appreciate her, and just, you know, speaking life into her birthday. And then that's kind of it. You know, we get into the event. We start moving around, we eat, and we're just talking. So now it comes up at the end of the night. And me and her are talking, and my friend and one of her friends are talking. And she said something along the lines of, you know, you don't like bitches. I said, no, bitches don't like me. Because, bitch, don't be funny. I don't remember exactly what we were talking about before it got to that point, but she like, you know, you got to know everything. I said, no, I don't have to know everything, just anything that has to do with me and my space. So it's like you saying a little funny shit, I'm catching it and I'm throwing that shit back to you, but I know how to be nasty nice. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to address the issue, we just gonna keep playing hee-hee ha-has until somebody grows some balls. Because like I said, I'm not the one with the mother issue. You know what I'm saying? So right after her birthday party, maybe like a week later, an appointment coming up with her. I go to the appointment, everything is cool. The energy is really off when I get there. It's just kind of like we're forcing conversations. We're not talking like we usually do. My discernment is up. And I'm already getting these intuitive down because at this point in time, I don't really necessarily have a good feeling about her. Like the energy just feels completely off. So she kind of gets into, well, how did you enjoy the birthday party? I enjoyed the birthday party. I loved it. Then she tells me that one of her friends was telling her other friend what happened between us. And I was like, well, what happened? Long story short, her friend was mad because she came to the strip club, and in all honesty, I apologized to the girl. I couldn't get to her. This was back when I was in my dancing bag. So I was dancing with a who had like $5,000 blowing that shit. I was not going to just walk away from this man. And it's another girl dancing in my bag that I don't know. No. Respectfully, I just couldn't get to her, and I guess she felt some type of way about that. To me, it's not that serious. If you want to see me shake some ass, girl, just tell me. So we kind of have a conversation about that, and I'm like, well, what's the situation? Because she's making it seem like it's like a huge deal, and I'm like, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, even with Tiffany, I'm like, Tiffany, this is like, I didn't even know she was still pressed about this. Like, but okay, you know. And I feel like she was just trying to, you know, kind of pick my brain and you know, check my temperature about it, but I really didn't give a truth be told, baby, I forgot. So before the end of the service, I said, you know what? I don't give a if we was beefing, and now I'm talking to Tiffany. I would still come to you and get my waxes done. And to me, that was me displaying my loyalty. Like, your services are so good that I don't give a what we got going on in personal. I'm still going to come and support the business. Now, somewhere in Tiffany deluded ass mind, she took that as
we beefing.
I don't know what the she took it as.
She took
because
it as
I don't see how you could read into that any more than she just saying how much she with me. You know what I'm saying? But you
have to understand that certain people can't read through what you're saying. Certain people just can't read through what you're saying. I'm not a blunt person, but I've said certain things giving people compliments, and they didn't read it like a compliment. You know what else though? I'm gonna say this. I've been wanting to say this since like part 1. Female friendships are so weird. It's like everything she's talking about sounds like what my wife be going through with some of her clients. Now, it ain't no situation where they're strippers and one of them done moved in or she done moved in with somebody else. But it's situations where they become close, and then somewhere along the lines, some miscommunication happens. And instead of them addressing it, the energy becomes weird, and then the situation becomes worse.
The jab. So a month go by, y'all, and this is when the shit starts to pop off. Like, hit her up. And I said, hey, do you have anything available this week for me to come and get a wax? Now, that was like the day before. She didn't text me back all that day, and I assumed she's just busy, right? So the next day comes along, and she hits me with this long paragraph, y'all, saying that, one, I made a comment at my last service that didn't really sit well with her, and she's just trying to figure out where that's coming from, blah, blah, blah. Then she also turns around and says, and then I'm going to be upping your service prices at this point because you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a brand ambassador.
Oh, she petty.
Hold up, bitch.
She petty.
First of all, it's the crack of ass. I roll over and I see this is the first thing I see on my screen in the morning. And, bitch, you're mixing business with personal.
Facts.
So let me tell you something, Miss Businesswoman. Where the fuck is my contract? But I'm getting ahead of myself. So we get into this full-blown back and forth situation because honestly, I feel like she's coming at me crazy and I don't know where the energy is coming from. So I'm trying to figure out, well, one, what did I say that was that bad to the point where you feel some type of way? And two, what the fuck have you given me to post? I'm confused. And it's not even about the money because the money ain't never no issue. But you're not going to play with me and try me and up my services without a valid reason and point, and which you did not have. So we go back and forth via text for a minute. I call my friend Emma because I'm like, this got me fucked up. I put Emma on three-way. I call Tiffany because we got to see what is the problem. I tell Emma, keep yourself on mute. Y'all, Tiffany lost her.
All right, man. Listen, her page is right there. You can go to her page. You can find the rest of her story. I'm pretty sure there's a part 4. I don't like to look at the whole story because I like to leave room for my subscribers to go to the page and finish it. You know, this is like my way of promoting the page. You know what I'm saying? You guys go over there. I seen some more of her content. She's actually a cool person. This is what I'm going to say, right? Hold up. First, before I do that, let me call my wife to make sure I can tell this story. Babe! Babe! Your name, babe?
Huh?
Your name? Get out. You don't have no shirt on? Where's your mother?
In there.
Call your mother and tell her to come here.
Why, yes, darling.
Close the door. Alright, listen. So, I just reacted to a story about an esthetician and her friend that went sour.
Aww.
I'm asking permission to tell the story
Oh.
about your friendship that went sour. Not the last one. The other one. Involving
Your friend?
the African, yes.
Oh, I know what she was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay.
the juicy story.
Yeah. Do I have permission? I'm not gonna call nobody name.
Yeah, you also have permission to promote me. Come see me at Spa Lavendale in Grayson, Georgia. Okay.
I told them that too.
Oh.
I didn't say the name of it, but I told them that you opened
Yeah,
business.
Spa Lavendale in Grayson. Y'all know where Grayson is. It's close to Snellville, Loganville, Lawrenceville, the Cure.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy the story, guys.
All right.
Growth is the name of the game. Emotionally immature. I didn't see the signs, but you, my husband, my God in light, he be knowing people. He be knowing the signs. Now I don't hesitate. My husband be like, not that person, not her, not him. I'm like, okay, babe. Okay. Oh, you got it, King.
All right, baby. All right. Damn. I might have to do a part 2 and tell the story. But anyway.
Oh, shit.
Anyway. So, before my wife opened up her business, she used to work with this other lady. The lady name was and cool as hell. You know, when you work for somebody, you have their clients because what it was books was full and she needed, you know what I'm saying, help. So she hired some estheticians and they were able to help her. So once my wife moved and she opened up her own business, some of the clients went with her. These 2 particular clients was a husband and wife. Somewhere down the line, my wife became really cool with the wife, but I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Certain conversations that they used to have, it kind of threw me for a loop. I'm going to call the wife, I'm going to say the wife's name is Jean. Like Jean Grey from X-Men. So Jean used to tell my wife all the ins and outs of her and her husband's relationship. Intimate details, you know, how they were having threesomes. It was just certain things that she was telling her. And I'm like, damn, why is she telling you all of that? Does the husband know you know? Then they got to the point where I'm like, man, she probably trying to recruit you or something. Like, that's how I felt. Like, to me, it was like, all right, the husband was coming to you to get facials, and he probably liked your vibe. He sent his wife to recruit, but you and his wife ended up becoming really cool, really close, whatever. All right, fast forward. It turns out that Gene went to college with one of my friends. And my friend saw a post that my wife put up, and he was like, yo, does Danae know such and such? I was like, yeah. He's like, bro, I went to school with her. Off of that post, he added her on Instagram. One thing about my boy, and we started beefing about this, when it comes to some poom, when pussy's on the line, he one of them dudes, he loses his mind. He loses his common sense. Okay? Prior to what I'm about to tell y'all happening, I had a conversation with this man, and I was like, hey, bro, leave her alone. Leave her alone, bro. One, she married. Two, her and her husband are paying clients for my wife. The man comes, he pays for his facial, he books his wife's facial, he buys products. So that's close to $500-$700 a session. Don't mess that up for my family. He's like, all right, bro. My wife hit me up, and she's like, yo, I just got a text from such and such. I look at the text, and in the text, this nigga calls my wife a bitch. So I'm like, hey, bro, what? And so basically what happened was my boy crossed the line. He said something to the wife. The husband figured it out, found out. And in his mind, because we knew, you know, he knew that was my friend, he felt as though myself as well as my wife was trying to, we basically backdoored him. Like, we was basically hooking his wife up with somebody else while smiling in his face. And I get that. I'm not gonna lie to you, I get that. So, but I hit him up. I'm like, hey, bro, listen, man. Ain't gonna call my wife no bitch. I'm gonna rectify this situation. So I called my boy, and I'm like, hey, bro, I told you. I was ready to throw hands. Regardless how long I've known this man close to 20 years. I was ready to throw hands because I told you, leave this woman alone. Now you got us looking crazy. So after that situation happened, the friendship that Danae had with Gene, it dissipated. You know, it started becoming weird, and then that was it after that. But what I figured might have happened was the husband was just like, yo, I don't want you hanging with her. You know, I don't want you being around her. And rightfully so, bro. You know, I don't know. It's other things that was transpiring in their marriage that she told my wife that I was like, damn, that's kind of messed up on his part. But all I cared about was the situation that transpired between my friend, her, that eventually trickled down to my wife. So from that, I told her, I was like, yo, you got to be careful. Even before that, I was like, yo, you got to be careful with that whole situation. I don't really know what their intentions is. You know what I mean? Like, and she had other situations where I've told her again, I'm like, yeah, they plotting on you. Like, it's just something about the people that come to her. Them niggas is freaky. Well, anytime a couple comes to her, it's like, bruh, they plotting on you. The other situation, I probably have to tell y'all that the lady actually sent her a text like, yo, what's up? She sent a body picture of her in a bathing suit. She's like, she said, I'm here at the pool. I wish you were here. Bitch. What? You think I'm finna just stand by while you and your husband plot on my wife? You think that's what's gonna happen? But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the story. Imagine you watching all my videos, laughing your ass off, but you still ain't subscribed. You got commitment issues, dog? It's free. It is free for you to subscribe. And hit the notification bell. That way, YouTube not going to control when or how you see my videos. Come on, people. What's going on? What are you waiting for? I ain't begging. I'm asking nicely. Don't make me ask you again.